And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Each year, Fragor Games publishes one game. The Lamont Brothers put out this game. It has something to do with animals usually, or something fantasies to that degree. They sell it at Essen. Sometimes these games go on to be some pretty big games. You may have heard of Snow Tales and Sheer Panic, but their games are usually based on the fact that they put some outrageous component in them. And each year they seem to up the ante on that. This year, look at this. This is Game of Gnomes. Look at that. That is a humongous box. If you bought one of these at Essen, you essentially were using half your suitcase for one game. Why is this box so big? Well, there's a giant component inside it. Okay, so I'm going to push back the screen here. Big, giant components are nice, but the game also has to be good. Well, let's take a look at both. Here's the board, and you're obviously noticing that there is a giant mountain here. Yes, this is that piece that I'm talking about. This is a large piece, and I believe it's made out of porcelain. I'm not quite sure. You notice that there's a hook here. So this looks like it was supposed to be mounted on the wall, and you put different items on it that you're supposed to show people. But this is here. You're going to have some of these amazing mushrooms up on top of the mountain, depending on the number of players. Some tiles are randomly placed out here on the board, and players' pieces, which are also nice big porcelain, they look like Christmas ornaments, are placed in starting positions. A bunch of blue mushrooms are scattered throughout the board. A pile of cards come out. Players are going to get some travel cards in their hand, and the game begins. The main point of this game is going to take place around this time track, which is down here. Each player has a color piece that they're going to have on this time track. And once again, this game makes the cardinal sin of making their piece colors the same as color mushrooms in the game, and they are not correlated. Publishers, you need to stop doing that. Anyhow, each day you have a certain number of actions you can take when it's your turn, and so this person will go and they'll take as many actions as they want. And you have actually quite a few actions that you can do. Most of them are going to be moving. Drawing a card, for example, will move you 1 week. Playing different cards is going to cost you a week. Picking a mushroom, so if you're at a spot on the board that has a mushroom like here, you can pick that mushroom for a week. And then you can also refresh stock at a store for 2 weeks, etc. So since most of the movement is 2 weeks, I want to talk about that. Most card play is 2 weeks. I do want to mention that when you move, you can stop whenever you want. At the end of a turn, the people who are farthest are exhausted, while the people who have not used all their weeks have a chance to take some bonus movement cards that are over here. There's a group of 3, there's a group of 2, and there's a group of 1 card that can be taken if you haven't used all your time. Now, of course, you can just draw cards and play cards. So many of the cards are movement. When you move, you can move along a path that's shown on the card, and you spend that time. So that was a yellow, sunny, happy path. You'll notice that there are some of those on the board. Sometimes you can move on 2 paths of the same type. So here's 2 mountainous paths. So I might want to move from here to here to here. And I can do that by using this, and that costs 2 time. If I can't find the card I need, I can only spend 3 icons to move on anything. So I pay these 3 icons, and I can move on any path I want. There are these cards in the game which don't let you move, but if you spend 3 icons, you then can move. And of course, you have to pay the time on all the icons of the cards that you want to go to. So you're moving around trying to pick up blue mushrooms. You want to deliver these mushrooms to a spot that takes them. That's a blue city. So this one here, you can see these 2 cities. Urpex here takes blue, and Heidenum also takes blue because it takes every kind of mushroom. And if you go there, you deliver it, and you will get one of the gems there. Now, the gems have different values, and so you're going to want to take the one that has the highest value. So the values are 3, 2, and 1. The highest value are the white ones, which is these, and they're worth 3. The greens are worth 2, and the browns are 1. Once you drop a mushroom off, that mushroom is removed from the board and you take those gems in front of you. Now those gems are points at the end of the game, but you also might want to go to one of the several shop spaces on the board. Each shop space on the board corresponds with a shop that's here where you can buy equipment. Now players are going to start with equipment. You have 4 pieces of equipment that you can use. You have your basket here. Each basket can hold only 1 mushroom. You have a tiny knapsack that shows that your hand size at the end of your turn has to go down to 4. You have pond pipes, which you can use once per game to summon the frog, and he can go over any path for the cost of 1 card. And you have the tunnel key. There are 2 tunnels connected on the board, and you can go from one city to the other city for no time units by using the tunnel key. But I might want better stuff than that. There are bigger baskets. You can see this one holds 2, this one holds 3. There is a short axe which allows me to travel over brown territories for free without paying the time thing, but you have to get rid of that also when winter comes. And so there's different things that will give you bonuses and benefits. As the game progresses, you'll find treasure cards in here, and treasure cards are great. You pay for those and they're worth points at the end of the game. However, at the same time, these treasure cards will hog up a spot in your hand of cards. So too many treasure cards and you won't have many other things that you can do. When you're buying here, you're going to use the gems that you bought and or cards that have values of gems on them to pay for the different goods that are there. Players also have the ability to go to the sorcerer's area here in the middle, and when they go there, they can get a quest. Basically, she gives you a loan. You get whatever's at the top of the card. So here, hey, she gives you 2 gems, but then you need to complete a specific quest, maybe go to a certain spot, and if you don't do that at the end of the game, you're going to lose 5 or 10 points. Now the big daddies are these mushrooms right here. These mushrooms you can sell to a village, and when you sell them to the village, you'll take one of these, which is worth 8 points. That's a lot. But to get up on this mountain, you're going to need a map. So there's different maps. Some will let you move on certain levels. So this one will let you move from the bottom, the green level, to the gray level. This one will let you move from the gray level to the white level and the green level to the gray level. But there are very specific spots that you can move to on this one. And so you're going to have to follow a normal trail to get on the mountain. Then when you're on the mountain, you can just pay certain passageways. The green passageways move on the bottom one. Or the yellow passageways, and the grays here and the whites up here. But to get from one to the one, you'll need a map, and only one person can be on each spot on the mountain. Then once you get these mushrooms, and you can only get 1 per game, you put in your basket, you go down, and villages will gladly give you one of these jewels as well as one of those points tokens that's worth 8. So this was going to go. Players are going to go around at the end of each time session. However, you count however many weeks the longest person went, and you'll move the time that far. When you get to summer, all the yellow mushrooms will show up on the board. There's spawning pots for all the yellow mushrooms. When you get to fall on the time thing, all blue mushrooms go away, and the red mushrooms appear. When you get to winter, the blue mushrooms come back, yellow mushrooms disappear, and also different spots on the board get frozen, which lets you cross like a lake, and the sorcerer's tower gets covered up with an ice storm. And when winter's over, the game is over, and at that point, you are going to count up all your points from the treasures that you've gotten, from the gems that you have gotten. You will lose points if you haven't done some of the sorcerer's quests, and whoever has the most points is the winner. Ah, yes, no component drop for this game because I was thinking that this actually might break. The pieces in here, I don't know. I mean, this feels kind of sturdy, but I wouldn't really want to mess with it. This is obscenely outrageous. This is one of the most unnecessary pieces I've ever seen in the game. And, I mean, yes, you climb up the mountain, that's cool, but... You know, I'm all for cool stuff, but this is not even used in like 80% of the game. It takes a while before you get to the mountain. When you get to the mountain, you get up, get your mushroom, get off. I don't know. That's a big chunk of the box. You take that out, and the piece in this box would fit inside the Carcassonne-sized box. So, I don't know. And, I mean, they've been putting these little gnome pieces and stuff in their games for a while. That's just the way that they've done things. The artwork for the game is okay, and the rest of the components are okay. It's just, I don't know what that mountain is. All right. But maybe the gameplay is that good. Unfortunately, I dislike this game. There's several reasons for that. The time mechanism, where you spend actions and it's time, and then whoever spends the least time gets to take extra cards, it just came off really kind of clunky. But most importantly, too long. If you play this game with the maximum number of players, which is 4, it is so boring. Because someone could effectively take 7 actions on their turn. Now, they're probably taking fewer than 7 actions, but they're going to sit there, and they're going to look at the cards in hand, they're going to go, okay, I can use this card to go there, and here I'll go to the store. Now, what store do I want to buy? How much do I got? And then I'm going to move here. Oh, let's see what cards I can use. You multiply that times 3, and there's nothing you can do. You can't even plan on your own turn, because you don't know what mushrooms are going to be available and stuff, and this game is just too boring when it's not your turn. That is a major problem with the game. Secondly, the whole movement part is really not that fun. This mechanism has been used in other games. In fact, the game was just reprinted this year called Elfenlands, which does a similar thing with these movement cards. But you're drawing cards, you're like, oh, I really need to move on the mountains. I didn't draw any mountain cards. So yay, I can either just suck it up, or I can spend 3 icons, which is 3 of your time units, which is half the time units you have. Or I could pay time units and draw cards. Then I get some points. Yay! And by the way, this game really rewards people who get points first. You go get the 3 points. And then someone else gets the 2 points. Well, 1 point's not that exciting. And the villages are going to sell out of mushroom. You know, the blue villages are going to go quickly. The red villages, you have to wait to the red mushrooms. And it's a race. And it feels like a slow motion race. But you get these points. And then you spend them, because you have to spend them to get the maps, to go up and get the other things. And it's constantly this, I'm giving some points up to get some points. And when the game is over, you're kind of like, you played better than me. What did you do? I don't really know. Maybe I got better draws than you? And so the game looks pretty. People are going to come around and go, what is that? But the gameplay itself, with 4 players, is kind of a disaster. It's just way too long. Too random. You can't, anything in the store that you might want, it could possibly be gone. You're getting quests, and it sounds intriguing, but the whole movement card thing, which, by the way, is not that easy to see which colors and cards go where either, is just kind of clunky and slow and dull. With 2 players, it's faster, of course, and so that would be fine. But again, how am I going to recommend this to you for a 2-player game? This is big and expensive, and so the game needs to be wah. But the game is not wah. The game's like wee. It's not that interesting. Now, I love the Lamont Brothers. They are some of the nicest designers you will ever meet in your life. And they put their heart and soul into their games. And they have published some really fun games in the past. This, unfortunately, is not one of them. I do wish they would possibly worry less about having the big, because what are they going to do next year? Have something bigger than this? I don't want that. I want them to make a game that's really fun to play. And this game takes a lot of mechanisms from other game, pick up and deliver, play cards for movement, and there's nothing really new or interesting here. And I want new and interesting things in games, but this doesn't, it's okay sometimes if a game doesn't have an original idea in its head, which this one doesn't. If they do it in a very cool, streamlined, fast, neat way, this doesn't do that either. I don't know who's going to be interested in this. Families, probably not. It's all over the place, kind of, I got to do this and that, I get this map and go here. And then strategy gamers are going to be disappointed because with all that trappings, there's tons of randomness involved. So, sorry, I don't really like Game of Gnomes. And I haven't even mentioned the pun. Dice Tower Judgment, winter has come. Not good.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff.
Shut the door!
Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.